Welcome to another episode of Simply Bitcoin, your number one source for the peaceful Bitcoin revolution. We cover the Bitcoin news, the culture, the fails by the shitcoiners and the central bankers, the memes. We have it all. Today we have a very special guest, a friend of mine who works at the Bitcoin Mag. How you doing, Chris?
What's going on, guys? Happy to be here.
Happy to have you. And of course, my legendary co-host, the legendary My Living Truth, also known as Optimus Fields. What's up, buddy?
What's up, Nico? What's up, Chris? Happy to be here. Your boy's been working all day already, and the signal don't stop.
The signal don't stop. You heard that. Also, good news for you guys. We are slowly transitioning Simply Bitcoin into a live show. We wanted to change things up. We're also going to be coming out with different types of content. You guys already saw a sneak peek into the interview series that I did with Greg Foss, Jeff Ross, and James Lavish. We're also going to be doing more of those with different types of guests that we feel like you guys would enjoy. Also, little sneak, not going to give it away, but we have different types of content just to keep you guys entertained and informed on what's going on in the Bitcoin revolution. Anyways, Opti, it's time for
Number time.
Brought to you by Nodl. They make some of the best Bitcoin nodes, like the Nodl One, the one I'm holding in my hand. Run your own version of Bitcoin Core, the Lightning Network, Whirlpool, and Dojo, all from the comfort of your own home. Remember, guys, if you don't run your own node, like the Nodl, you're using someone else's. And now, if you are a digital nomad, you have no excuse because the Nodl guys just released Nodl Cloud. Run a Nodl through a virtual private server. Visit nodl.eu. At the time of this recording, Bitcoin price is at 21,855 sats per dollar, 4,565. Bitcoin held in corporate treasuries, 1,491,000. Block height, 746,834. Reachable Bitcoin nodes, 14,805. Percentage of Bitcoin issued, 90.97%. Blocks to the halvening, 93,166. Halving estimate, April 18, 2024. Block subsidy value, 136,906. Block subsidy. That number is going to get cut in half when the halving happens. It's at 6.25. It's going to cut in half, which I'm looking.
Hey, Nico, before we go into the numbers video,
what's up?
I've been meaning to make an emphasis of this. Besides the block height being my favorite number, I love that 90.97% of total supply issued number, guys. That number keeps going up. You know what that means? Less sats out there, boys and girls. Let's go. Anyways, Nico, continue. Sorry about that.
No, that was a great fucking observation. Hit it, Opti. I like that. But yeah, no, he's absolutely right? Look, it's Newt Svanholm's amazing meme. 21 million divided by infinity. There's only so much Bitcoin to go around, and no one else could just print it or debase it. Anyways, I have a very interesting tweet by Richard Dick Whitman. And here is Vitalik saying the quiet part out loud. He says, dude is running an illegal security. And this is him talking with Weinstein. Let's check out what he has to say. Let's check out.
And with cryptocurrency, suddenly you could make things that are completely open source that through coins do have a funding mechanism. And in many cases, the projects turn out to be outright fraudulent, right?
But it's a really delicious and weird situation. I haven't asked you about it yet, but I presume that your net worth crashed a great deal. It got run up and then came back down.
It did, yeah.
And were you happy in any way about that?
Relieved. Yeah. So when right at the top of the big bubble, like in December 2017, when Bitcoin was hitting 20,000, ETH was hitting 1,400. I made this tweet and a series of tweets, and that kind of became somewhat famous within the space, where I basically said the cryptocurrency space has reached $500 billion. Does it deserve it? Like, do the things that it's actually accomplished like hold a candle to the promises that the market is ascribing to it? And I mean, the subtext of my answer is not yet, and I was proven very right fairly quickly. But
you didn't short it, did you?
So I did get the Ethereum Foundation to sell about 70,000 ETH, like basically at the top, and that's doubled our runway now. So,
no, runway. He's describing Ethereum like a company. That sounds a whole lot like a security. For our audio listeners, that was Vitalik Buterin, the co-founder, sounds so weird, of Ethereum, and obviously the head of the Ethereum Foundation. And the Ethereum Foundation is what makes sure that there's active development for Ethereum. But mind you, Ethereum had a pre-mine, right? And they're using that pre-mine to fund operations. And the way that he described runway, right? Runway is this kind of startup term, and it means how much time do you have left before you run out of money, right? Which is weird. So is Ethereum a startup? It's very strange. It's very strange wording. Maybe that was a Freudian slip. Maybe he just doesn't care at this point. But that definitely sounds like it's a security, right? Anyone who's buying into the Ethereum project, what you're really doing is you're funding the Ethereum Foundation because they hold a lot of Ethereum. So that isn't the case with Bitcoin. So yeah. Interesting to say the least. Chris, what are your thoughts? I mean, let me pass it up to Opti first, because it seems like he can't contain himself. He's been swagging along in his seat.
All right. Well, I was just going to say, I mean, besides you noticing me that I've been laughing this whole time, it's just further proof and more evident that shitcoiners are just dumping on retail. And it's been all in the news, whether it's Coinbase insider trading, whether it's Vitalik telling you that he told the ETH Foundation to dump their shitcoin on retail, whether it's like what I was talking about in the spaces, the old story of Charlie Lee dumping his Litecoin for conflict of reasons of conflict. It reminded me of your comment yesterday where you were telling Keto and Askiwatu about the fact that there is no Bitcoin fund or Bitcoin foundation that can control Bitcoin. This is a feature, not a bug, because as Nico told you, the ETH Foundation is being run like a company. And I really liked the point where he said about his tweet in the past, whether the shitcoin market or the Bitcoin and shitcoin market reaching $1 trillion deserved that market cap. And it just reminded me of when I covered the ETH merge fail earlier this week, when Vitalik admitted to himself that ETH is only 55% complete. So even he himself would admit that it doesn't deserve that market cap. And he also admits that he's dumping on you guys. Like, take that with what you will. Stay humble, stack sats. This is the way. This is why we tell you guys that, because shitcoiners are dumping on you.
Yeah.
Anyways.
And for anyone thinking that ETH is the second best, Opti, what's the second best?
What's the second best? There is no second best.
Chris, what are your thoughts? Sorry, I usually pass it to the guest first, but Opti literally was on a roll. You can see he's literally on fire right now. He's on fire. We need an extinguisher. Anyways, Chris, what are your thoughts, brother?
No, you're good. I'm definitely on fire too. I think this conversation, I think it's completely ridiculous, guys. I mean, the protocol is only 40% complete, and I don't really know if 80% of the people of Ethereum can tell me who the CEO of the Ethereum Foundation is right now. If you didn't know who it was, it's actually, and I might botch this a little, Maya Gucci, who has her own great, fantastic page on the worldeconomicforum.org. So you can tell, guys, this is a company, this Ethereum Foundation is producing roadmaps 3 to 4 years on actually completing the protocol. This is a complete joke. I can't believe we're spending this much time on it.
Yeah. 1,000, you're 1,000% spot on. It's literally a scam. You're buying into a company. That's what it sounds like. That's how he was talking about. Yeah, man. Like it's crazy. And look, we also know that the Ethereum Foundation has partnered up with the World Economic Forum. Miyaguchi, the woman who's on the Ethereum Foundation, she also sits on the World Economic Forum blockchain initiative, right? Very strange. We also know that Ethereum pitched a central bank digital currency, right? You could build that on Ethereum. So it's like Ethereum is going to ally with the state to ensure its survival because it is inherently centralized, right? You look at Bitcoin, Bitcoin is decentralized. Bitcoin needs no one. Therefore, it doesn't need an ally for this. So yeah, I think that in the future, the big battle is, I don't think the old fiat parties are really going to matter. I don't think it's going to be a battle between left and right. I'm calling it right now. I believe it's going to be a battle between Bitcoiners and the new collectivists, which are the shitcoiners. I see it. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know. Opti?
I don't think I have anything to add there, Nico. I think we thoroughly slayed ETH and the shitcoiners.
We did. Chris, you want to add something before we move on to the daily news?
Yeah, just that there's nothing good with, or there's nothing wrong with daily repetition, right? Putting it out there, getting rid of these scammers. I mean, it's a good thing for the space, right? This Ethereum Foundation does not need to go untouched. Our voices should be heard about it, and people should know what's actually really going on. So.
Absolutely, 100%. Anyways, Opti, it's time for
the daily news.
Brought to you by CryptoCloaks.com. They make some of the best 3D printed Bitcoin merch, like the famous 3D printed Bitcoin grenade toy. Comes in any custom color your heart desires. That's right. You want it in Peter Schiff colors? Yeah, it comes in gold, and you can take advantage of the promo code down below to get 5% off. If you're in Europe, the European store is now open. Check out CryptoCloaks.com today. All right, everybody. So, this guy's in trouble. We covered an episode on Saturday. Literally, the name of the episode was that the South Korean prosecutors, the police, started raiding exchanges and anybody basically that had to do with the whole Terra Luna debacle. People got absolutely wrecked. You have to understand that, right? Anyways, let's check out this article by Finbold. South Korean prosecutors investigating the collapse of Terra asked that the Ministry of Justice issue a notice upon arrival for Terra Labs CEO Do Kwon and a travel restriction for Terra co-founder Shin Hwan-seong. The Seoul Southern District Prosecutor Joint Financial Crimes Investigation Team Director, that's a very long title, Dan Sung-han, who is in charge of the investigation into the Terra fiasco probe, asked that the Ministry of Justice notify Kwon, who is believed to be residing in Singapore upon arrival, according to a report by South Korean outlet Herald Corp on July 27. The notice is often conducted if an immediate inquiry into the individual is required. What's more, the district prosecutor also asked that a departure ban be placed on Shin Hwan-seong, the co-founder of Terraform Labs and the chairman of the Timon Board of Directors, along with current and former executives. It is also said to have received approval from the Ministry of Justice. I think these guys are going to jail, but note that the Terra Lab CEO, Do Kwon, the famous one, I don't think he's in South Korea. In fact, I think he's in Singapore. Now, will Singapore extradite him to South Korea? We know, for example, that Singapore is taking a very pro-crypto stance, right? Crypto, we know it's a shitcoin, but I don't think governments and jurisdictions have realized that yet, like we learned from Miami. Unfortunately, the Miami CEO literally is like, I love Bitcoin, buy Miami coin. So hopefully governments will learn eventually. I know that a lot of Bitcoiners are insulating Nayib Bukele, president of El Salvador, from a lot of the shitcoiners that are trying to incentivize him. Look at the disaster that happened in the Central African Republic. They made Bitcoin legal tender. Coinbase got their sticky hands on them, and then shortly after, CAR, the Central African Republic, released their own shitcoin, right? So, yeah, man, I don't know if Singapore, if that's where he's at, is going to extradite him, but dude, like, if I was these guys, I would be fucking sweating bullets, excuse my language, because it really seems like authorities are coming in close, and at least the co-founder of Terra, he's not going anywhere, you know, unless he like flees the country illegally or whatnot. But he's not going to be able to, you know, leave on a plane. And like, is he going to get on a boat, then go to Japan? Because he can't go north. That's North Korea. That's literally the worst communist country on the face of the planet. So he's like stuck on the South Korean peninsula, I guess. I don't know. Nico's talking shit. Chris, what are your thoughts on this? Is this justice served? Is justice coming in? Is it coming? Is it coming?
I mean, yeah, absolutely. This guy's a scammer, right? So when you look at the actual value add for any of these governments to really keep this guy afloat, to kind of dismiss it under the rug, I don't think there is one. This guy's cut off all the friends. You can see even the shitcoiners are calling him a scammer these days. So I don't think this guy has a chance. Duo Kwan and all of his the central cronies or whatever he likes to call them, they're all toast. They're a bunch of scammers. I think they're done for. And if the Asian countries aren't going to get them, I think someone in the East will. There were a lot of people who got burnt on this. A lot of capital was lost. Unfortunately, a lot of Bitcoin was lost in this, and that just makes our voice even louder, right? Even more important. So Duo Kwan, I don't think you and your buddies are going to make it. I'm sorry, but you should have thought about that before you ran a Ponzi scheme.
100%. I literally could not have said it better myself. The master of mayhem, Optimus. What are your thoughts, brother?
Trish was on fire, first and foremost. And then secondly, guys, I'm just going to, touch on a theme that I've been saying for a while now since this story came up. And it's basically that shitcoin scammers aren't going to be able to scam people in peace anymore. Like, you're not going to be able to get away with taking people's Bitcoin because Bitcoin is hitting the world stage. And I think this is further proof that this is what's happening. You aren't going to be able to create a Ponzi scheme on the blockchain and just, wipe your hands and walk away like they used to be able to in 2017 and earlier cycles. Like, this has kicked up so much mud, and all the financial regulations of the world want to crack down on this. So it's not like this is going to go away with. This is something that we are all going to have to deal with. And so to all you shitcoiners out there, if you think toxic Bitcoin maximalists are the toxic ones because we say mean words and we meme you to death, well, here is a wake-up call, because the real freaking toxic people are the people that are coming after you and going to throw you in cages for scamming people. Just stay humble, stack sats, guys. Avoid the shitcoin scams.
Stay humble, stack sats. That's exactly what you need to do. That's literally exactly what you need to do. Anyways, guys, we do say we are your number one source for the Bitcoin revolution. The reason we say that is because we cover topics that a lot of people don't cover because it's not mainstream news. And let's talk about the articles and where we get them from. We like to get our articles and our sources from Bloomberg, from the Financial Times, from the New York Times. And the reason for that is you have to understand the mind of your enemy. You have to understand the way they think, the way that they perceive Bitcoin, the way that they perceive this movement. A hit piece was released today by the New York Times, and the New York Times is the source of choice for the establishment, for the powers that be, right? This was the article that we covered a long time ago. Not that long ago, actually. Crypto mining capacity in U.S. rivals energy use of Houston, findings show. We debunked that the day of. The New York Times also covered this article. Russia could use cryptocurrency to blunt the force of U.S. sanctions. When both these articles were released, coincidentally, the same day, Elizabeth Warren, which is a staunch enemy of Bitcoin, came out, and coincidentally, she was using very similar wordings to this article, right? And there was a very famous video of Elizabeth Warren questioning the chain analysis CEO, basically saying, oh, well, Russia could use Bitcoin and shitcoins to circumvent sanctions. So you got to pay attention to what your enemy is thinking. You're reading this, and I know you get upset. You're like, that's not true. Bitcoin uses wasted energy, right? So anyways, this article came out today, and I'll explain. I'll give you my take on what I think is the signal. Kraken, a U.S. crypto exchange, is suspected of violating sanctions. Kraken, one of the world's largest cryptocurrency exchanges, is under federal investigation, suspected of violating U.S. sanctions by allowing users in Iran and elsewhere to buy and sell digital tokens, according to 5 people affiliated with the company or with knowledge of the inquiry. The Treasury Department's Office of Foreign Asset Control has been investigating Kraken since 2019. Remember who the Office of Foreign Asset Control is, guys. I'm sure you guys remember this. They were the ones behind Maripool or Marathon implementing so-called OFAC compliant blocks, meaning when a mining pool finds a block, they get to choose what transactions get included or not. An Office of Foreign Asset Control block basically meant that only transactions that the US government whitelisted were included into the block. And that would defeat the entire fucking purpose of Bitcoin. And at the end, the root cause of this, and I suspect this is going to continue to get even more contentious. And this is the question that you should be asking yourself. Should a group of bureaucrats that are in charge of sending hundreds of millions of dollars to the Ukraine, are in charge of invading Iraq under false pretense, using the New York Times, by the way, to push that Iraq had weapons of mass destruction, also, who's also involved in the Afghanistan war and involved in the withdrawal of the Afghanistan war, where the U.S. government and the U.S. Army left $80 billion of equipment in Afghanistan. Should those people in D.C. get to decide who is entitled to use money or not? Because that is the root problem here, right? But I want you to pay attention to the framing of this article, because it's trying to incept you with a certain narrative. And don't believe their moral superiority, because their system of control and censorship has cut off the people of Venezuela, cut off the people of Cuba, cut off the people of Afghanistan. Their system is a system that gets to decide, based on where you happen to be born in, whether you are entitled to use money or not. That is the system that they are advocating for. Now they're going to argue sanctions. Sanctions have not been able to take down the Cuban government. Sanctions have not been able to take down the North Korean government. So who are the actual victims of these sanctions? The people of those countries that have absolutely nothing to do with their governments. So keep that in mind before I continue. Anyways, and is expected to impose a fine, said the people, who declined to be identified for the fear of retribution from the company. Kraken would be the largest U.S. crypto firm to face an enforcement action from OFAC sanctions against Iran, which the United States imposed in 1979, prohibit the export of goods or services to the people or entities in that country. The federal government has increasingly cracked down on crypto companies, which are lightly regulated as the market for digital currencies has grown. Tether, a stablecoin company, was fined by the Commodity Futures Trading Commission for misstatements about its reserves last year. While the Justice Department brought insider trading charges this month against an ex-employee of Coinbase. Scrutiny of the industry has risen in recent months as the crypto market went into meltdown and several companies such as Voyager Digital and Celsius Network collapsed. Kraken, a private company valued $11 billion that allows users to buy, sell, hold various cryptocurrencies, has previously faced regulatory actions. Last year, the CFTC levied a $1.25 million penalty against the company for a prohibited trading service. Remember, when Nancy Pelosi does insider trading, when the members of the chair Fed were caught buying assets that were going to benefit from the money printing, it's just a slap in the wrist for them. They just resign. But of course, when us Bitcoin and shitcoin companies do it, they're bad. They're criminals. Anyways, an internal conversation about employee benefits in 2019, Jesse Powell, Kraken's CEO, suggested he would consider breaking the law in a wide range of situations if the advantages to the company outweighed potential penalties. Where's the quote? According to messages seen by the New York Times. You have to take the New York Times word on it, just like you had to take their word on it about the WMDs. Anyways, sanctions are some of the most powerful tools the United States has, there's the signal, has to influence the behavior of nations. It does not consider allies. But cryptocurrencies pose a threat to sanctions because the digital coins don't flow through the traditional banking system, of which governments have captured, making the funds harder for the government to control. So again, I'm going to go back to the root issue. The question here is, do a group of bureaucrats, when they say the United States, that's not true. When a group of United States government officials should have the ability to control who uses money or not. Because the fact is that the US government, through sanctions, has not been able to influence any type of fucking behavior, period. They've had sanctions on Cuba for a very long time. They've had sanctions on North Korea. They've had sanctions on many countries. And those countries' regimes and governments have not changed. But you know who pays the consequences? The people of those governments. Anyways, in October, the Treasury Department warned that cryptocurrencies potentially reduce the efficiency of American sanctions. It released a 30-page compliance manual that recommended cryptocurrency companies use geolocation tools to weed out customers in restricted regions. The fact that crypto can move without a bank or intermediary means that exchanges are responsible for certain types of financial regulatory compliance. Now, I'm going to end it there. Zoom out, connect the dots. You see where this is going. You see why I advocate for self-custody. Because eventually, what's going to end up happening is once they've captured all the exchanges, at the end of the day, when you take self-custody and you're able to send and receive Bitcoin at your own free will without anybody censoring you or anybody trying to stop you, what they're going to do, they're going to go after self-custody. Because they really fundamentally believe that they play God here. They get to decide who is allowed, who is entitled to use money, and who's not entitled to use money. This is what this is about. This is the separation of money and state. You are witnessing it. These are part of the battles. And what you would interpret as noise reading that article, you have to understand what is happening in the background. This is some crazy shit. I'm telling you, this will continue to escalate. Remember what they did to the BitMEX CEO? They made a fucking example out of him. They're going to make an example out of Kraken. Jesse Powell was the CEO that when the Canadian truckers were receiving Bitcoin, he specifically warned, don't send that Bitcoin to an exchange because we will not be able to protect you. Shortly after, the Canadian government released a press release saying they were going to investigate Jesse Powell for saying that. This is the separation of money and state. You're watching it. And because they can't control Bitcoin, they will capture Ethereum. It's inevitable, but they can't control Bitcoin. They're going to try to go after anything that is inherently centralized, whether that's an exchange, whether that's a hosted wallet. They're going to start coming up with terms saying, oh, it's an unhosted wallet, therefore it's dangerous, right? You have the European Union making it difficult for people to take self-custody. And this is the question that I have to ask for you guys. Do they deserve that trust? Because look at the amount of money they printed. Look at the damage that the US government and governments in general, not even the US government, has done by having the responsibility of money. Are these people really entitled to that much power? That is a question that I have to ask you guys. I say no, they're not. They have consistently broken that trust to ensure their own survival while you lose. And Bitcoin is a peaceful revolution because you have the chance to say no to that system. And here is the system literally fighting back, trying to stop you. I don't over-exaggerate when I say this is a peaceful revolution. We are living through it. Doesn't require violence, doesn't require force, doesn't actually really require for you to do anything. Take Bitcoin into self-custody. And if enough people do it, we win, and there is absolutely nothing they could do about it. But they released those articles to make you believe that they're still in total control. Anyways, Chris, what are your thoughts, buddy?
Man, Nico, you got me fired up. You got my blood boiling over here. Yeah, I just think that this is a historical event that we don't just see in the United States. if you look at the collapses of many nations throughout the history of the world, some of these same concepts apply. If you look at the collapse of the Roman dynasty, partly due to that collapse was the debasement of their currency, was taking this actual freedom and this trust of monetary supply and completely ruining that trust from the people to the government layer. And that in and of itself is just a flaw in the actual design of this monetary system. When we get to Bitcoin, we see that that flaw, that issue, that problem has actually been solved. And they don't want this to happen because in order for this problem to be solved, the trust has to be completely beritten of human emotion. The trust has to be reliant on code and math and something that you can predict, right? And Bitcoin is something that we can predict and something that we can know. I find it very humorous that we read into these papers and they spend hundreds of thousands of dollars and employees and long hours to produce these long 30-page papers on that Bitcoin is a threat to their sanctions. Well, I could have saved you all that time and money and told you, yes, Bitcoin is exactly a threat to your sanctions. That is exactly what it's going against. Your sanctions don't belong in a Bitcoin world. That is what Bitcoin is defeating. That is what Bitcoin is going against. To sit here and say that you understand what Bitcoin is, but to say one bad thing about Bitcoin is that it ruins your sanctions, then that defeats what your first point was. You don't understand what Bitcoin is. You don't understand what Bitcoin is doing. And you're missing the point. You're missing the Bitcoin wave, and you're trying to gain control. And eventually, after years and years, I believe, of a lot of the central cronies developing these centralized digital systems, it will fall back to the best use, productivity-wise, of energy, which is Bitcoin. And everything will be monetized by Bitcoin. Bitcoin will be the base layer of the global financial system. And it's written in the code. And if you don't believe me, go read it yourself. It's a wonderful white paper. It's a wonderful code. So yeah.
Absolutely, dude. Bullish. Anyways, Opti, what are your thoughts?
Well, first of all, I loved your take, Chris. And also, I loved your take, Nico. I loved how fired up you got. Getting the plebs fired up out there. But I think this is just further proof that Bitcoin routes around the legacy system, guys. Feature, not a bug. Bitcoin separates money from state. Honey Badger don't give a fuck. This is a feature, guys. This is what it does. And hey, the legacy system will have to FUD it however they can and frame it in whatever narrative they can to make the normies out there avoid Bitcoin. And I love that Chris brought up the white paper because I was just going to make a joke and troll their paper. It's like, okay, so 30-page manual or 9-page white paper. Like, I'll take the 9-page white paper every single day. Anyways,
yeah,
Nico,
I would. Oh man, I'm so glad you mentioned that because that's literally what I was going to bring up. The Fed central bank digital currency white paper was literally like 100-something pages. The research papers that you said are 30 pages. Bitcoin white paper is literally 9 fucking pages. Feature, not a bug. Anyways, Opti, it's time for
the Daily Fail.
Brought to you by SwanBitcoin.com. Swan is the best place to build your Bitcoin stack with automated Bitcoin savings plans and instant purchases, serving clients of any size from $10 to $10 million. Swan Bitcoin aligns with Simply Bitcoin's values. Why? Because they incentivize taking Bitcoin into self-custody, which is how we win this decentralized revolution. And of course, they incentivize dollar cost averaging. Spread out that risk, layer into Bitcoin, use it as a savings technology rather than speculation. Check out swanbitcoin.com today.
All right, guys, what's up? I'm here for the fail with this headline. Ant Pool invested $10 million to support Ethereum Classic developers, CEO says. So let's just get into this. You know, maybe you hear this headline and you're like, oh, where's the fail there, Opti? What's going on here? Well, let's get into this. So as the anticipated ETH merge upgrade nears, the CEO of one of the largest cryptocurrency mining pools has told the public that his organization has invested $10 million towards ETH Classic or ETC ecosystem and will continue to financially support it. So Leon Lib, the CEO of AntPool, the mining pool affiliated with the major cryptocurrency mining hardware giant Bitmain, remember Bitmain, guys, announced those developments as he addressed the Manufacturers World Digital Mining Summit on July 26. So specifically, the $10 million in funds are intended for inviting more developers to quote unquote build the prosperity of ETC, supporting the network developers to deploy projects on the mainnet, increasing its layer 2 scalability through premium scaling solutions, and incubating leading projects on ETH Classic. So then it announces that Bitmain announced an ETH Classic miner that they can pay with ETC. And then just notably, apparently this took place after Vitalik told people that the ETH Classic blockchain is a totally fine chain, guys. Totally fine. Definitely use it. But in response to this news, of course, the ETH Classic token starts pumping. Well, again, I brought up Bitmain. So in my opinion, this is the fail here, guys. Let's remember, Bitmain now accepting only Bitcoin Cash for their Antminer sales. So let's continue. And this date right here, October 4, 2017, for those that haven't been around, that may not know who Bitmain is, they are one of the biggest proponents to the Bitcoin Cash fork and all the block wars drama of 2017. Well, now they're back pushing another proof of work chain. So not only did they push the Bcash, but a year after this post that I just mentioned, they lay off the Bcash developers. And I bring all that up just to bring up the fact that if you look at the hash rate here, guys, if you compare Bitcoin to ETH, to Bcash, to ETH Classic, you can see where the fail is, guys. So if you remember what he said, they are trying to incentivize the ETH Classic community to build on Ethereum Classic. Well, if you see these numbers, guys, it's not looking very good. They don't have much hash rate over there. In my opinion, not that good of a chain, Vitalik. I don't know if it can withstand nation state attacks over there, but hey, you do whatever PR you want to do. So let's look at some of these numbers. Bitcoin hash rate, 211 exahash. Ethereum, 927 terahash. Bitcoin Cash, 1 exahash. Ethereum Classic, 24 terahash. So what are they doing here, guys? It seems to me like Bitmain is just... they've lost the plot, guys. Like they are in full Bitcoin derangement syndrome, and they lost in 2017 the block size wars, and now they're spending more money to push Ethereum Classic, and no one wants to use Ethereum Classic. There's people there that are just using their gear to keep mining. There's probably some idealistic miners out there, but we know what's happening, guys. Bitcoin has eaten all their lunches. And I really don't see why they would invest $10 million unless they had something to sell. And what do you know? They are selling an ETH Classic miner for ETH Classic. Guys, standard shitcoin stuff. Stay humble, stack sats, guys. Bitcoin is the way. This is just further proof that shitcoiners are going to dump whatever they can on you. And you, the pleb out there, just stay on Bitcoin. It's so easy, guys. Your life is so much easier when you don't focus on all the noise, which is everything but Bitcoin. But Nico, you are the miner, so let's get the miner's take on this. What is your thoughts?
Dude, Ethereum Classic already got 51% attacked, right? The lower the hash rate, the easier it is to computationally attack. Therefore, you could rewrite the change, you could double spend, right? And therefore the value proposition decreases, right? So yeah, man, look, this is what happens when companies, they approach crypto as Bitcoin, crypto, they're all the same. But no, Bitcoin is completely different than crypto. And I think that a lot of companies haven't realized this. They conflate the two. And here's the thing, here's the signal. In this market downturn, I'm not aware of any Bitcoin company that just exploded, but I am aware of many crypto companies that exploded. So again, I think it's too early to say that's a pattern, But I think that crypto brings all the maliciousness, all the bad from Wall Street. It brings it into the sphere because it's not as regulated, right? The same shit that happened in Wall Street for so long is now happening in the crypto space. Bitcoin, we have a chance to change that, to break that cycle. But only if you take advantage of it. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. Anyways, Chris, what are your thoughts, brother?
Yeah, with these sidechain mining protocols, you can just see these early investors, these angel seed investors, doubling down the whole way down. Double down, goes down 50, double down again. I mean, they're going to drive their treasuries into the dirt if they haven't already. Roger Ver, all of them, their treasuries are going down. And as their treasuries get smaller, as their purchasing power goes down, as they invest in capital that's not Bitcoin, their voices get louder and more obnoxious, and eventually they'll just go away. But at least for the time being, as they still have some type of marketing capital, they're going to push their last voice that they possibly can. But I do think that this bear market will knock out probably some, but of course they'll always be around. There's always going to be greed in the market, and essentially that's just what it is at its base core.
Absolutely. Opti, we got time for one more, brother.
Yeah. Remember, this is just for the put a pin on this. Remember the beginning in the numbers when Vitalik was talking about the runway? Well, people's runways are drying up. Anyways, on to the next fail. This is a continuation story, guys. We covered this news, so I'm not going to go in full into Coinbase and the investigation by the SEC, whether they are listing shitcoins. We heard some news this morning that Cathie Woods has dumped her bags of Bitcoin. I don't know why it's not loading in here. Here we go. Cathie Woods funds dumped Coinbase stock for the first time in 2002. She dumped 1.41 million shares in Coinbase. Some people might say that she's the fail, but no, she probably knows something that we don't know, that Coinbase is extra wrecked. And this is the fail, guys. This is what I really wanted to cover. People were talking, yeah, Chris gets it. People were talking about this in the chat, and I had to cover it because, guys, just imagine what Coinbase is doing. They are getting wrecked by the SEC for securities violations. And what do? They come out with this ridiculous PR video, and they're just trying to paper over it like it's nothing. So as you can see right here, they're doing the normal green screen cover thing, and then it goes, the following film has been approved for all degens everywhere. The film advertised has been rated probably nothing by @Coinbase. So I'm not going to play the whole video because it's pretty atrocious, but there's this little part in here, right here, look. They're shilling ApeCoin in the video, and then just listen. I'm going to play a minute. Just listen to how they frame everything going on in the shitcoin space. So.
Today's episode is surely gonna be fire. Economist Professor Gary Rifkin. What's the Web3 Alpha, Professor?
Right on, Bo. For your new listeners, Web 2 is all about control.
Uh-huh. Social media, government.
Exactly. Now we're on the leading edge of Web 3. We're talking decentralized economics, empowered trade, shared value and community. Digital coin will be key.
Yes, your book has it all. I give it 5 bananas. Now, tell our audience about what we really want to know. You were a part of this event?
A contest. Yeah, a Web 3 joust. And it started when I met 4 other degens.
Degenerates. Ooh, our Web3 martyrs.
Degens are Web3 builders.
So you were pitted against one another for what? To stake
All right,
your
stop
claim
it. I can't.
I agree.
Sorry. All right, guys.
Take your claim in the metaverse.
Yeah,
Oh my
exactly.
God.
Look, so I brought the receipts here, guys, and this might be too much receipts, but look, let's just go down memory lane. We have Coinbase in the news because they are losing market share to FTX. We have Coinbase in the news because they are hiring are pausing their hirings of new employees. We have Coinbase in the news because their app has been sliding 55% since 2022, plunged 79% since 2021. Guys, I covered this last week. Coinbase slashes 18% of their workforce. Their stock gets downgraded. They're selling your information to ICE. They are temporarily shutting down their marketing and influencers program. And then the head of U.S. policy calls for the need for crypto firms to self-regulate as the sector consolidates. And as I write here, pot calling kettle black. And as we got quote tweeted right here, in regards to Kathy D. Woods dumping her 1.42 million Coinbase shares, that DGen viral video did its job. So guys, we've been telling you guys consistently that these shitcoiners, these shitcoin exchange, all they do is PR spin. And look how they tried to spin this, guys. They are in the news for securities violation, something that they should take very seriously. And what did they do? They do a blog post saying, we do not list securities, period. And then they post this ridiculous ape coin video about degens everywhere. Like, do they not understand what they're doing? Can they not read the room? Like, this is absolutely ridiculous, because I feel like anyone with a right mind would understand that this is probably not the video you should be releasing right on the backs of the SEC investigating you guys for listing securities. Like, this is absolutely insane. Coinbase is so wrecked. The L's keep piling up, and it's not going to be good when either Coinbase is too big to fail or they do fail. Like, what is going on over at Coinbase? I don't know, but hey, maybe Kathy Woods knows a little more than we do, because if she's liquidating her Coinbase bags for a loss, guys, you can call her a bad trader, but you'd much rather have some money left over than losing all your money. So what is going on over at Coinbase? We don't know. We will cover this saga, and it doesn't look good. Nico, I see you shining.
I mean, like, holy crap. It goes back to what I was saying, right? You live by the shitcoin, you die like the fucking shitcoin. They're so unaware of their situation. Look, the reality is that these shitcoins, they fucking hurt people. They hurt people. That's just the reality. They wreck people. They're not sound money. And they peddle them as if they're the equivalent of Bitcoin, right? Dude, it's absolutely disgusting. This is literally giving more ammunition to the bureaucrats like Elizabeth Warren to go after the entire space. Because they're like, oh, crypto, Bitcoin, it's the same thing. It must be regulated. It's dangerous. The consumer needs protection. Coinbase is an enemy of Bitcoin. Full stop. Chris, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't know if Brian Armstrong is sweating bullets right now or if he's that far in Jerome Powell's pants. But I think I'm going to go with number one right now. Not the second. I think Coinbase is really, really sweating right now. I don't think this is going to be the last time y'all are talking about them during this bear market. I'm excited to see how this unfolds. And yeah, I guess we'll just stay tuned.
Dude, we've been covering it for the last 3 days. It's literally been a fucking saga. It's not going anywhere. Will it be the first crypto company to go under? Maybe. Their stock is like 20% down since that announcement. And that is literally the fucking tweet they released. Remember, guys, get your tokens on Meta. Like, holy shit, who the fuck wants to do that? Anyways, Opti, it's time for it.
The Daily Meme Review.
Brought to you by Citadel 21. It's the best Bitcoin cultural zine. It's stories, articles, comics by actual Bitcoiners. This is the artwork for Volume 10. This is the artwork for Volume 11, and this is the artwork for Volume 2. Volume 2 is almost sold out because there's only 1,000 physical copies made per volume. Get your prints of Citadel 21 today before they run out. All right,
guys, I'm here to do the meme review. As you can see, this first one is by Lena Sichet. I hope I said your last name right, Lena. And she goes, there is no recession. And we got the first box where the government is telling the plebs, there's no inflation. And then the sign's down, and then the government tells you inflation is transitory. And then they put that sign down, and the government tells you inflation is good for you. And then they switch their narrative again, and they go, inflation is Russia's fault. And now they completely switch their narrative to recessions are good for you. And there is no recession. And guys, literally as we are doing this recording, Jerome Powell says in the FOMC meeting that I don't think the U.S. is in recession. So you know how it goes. When they have the official denial, what is happening? It's the opposite of what they're happening. Well, how is this tweet, this other meme by Toxycat? The USA and then the boogeyman, the definition of a recession. If I ignore it, maybe it will go away. Amazing, guys. Amazing. And then I found this one. This person's not a Bitcoiner, but I think it's very fitting. It's a very fitting meme. It's not even a Bitcoin meme. And it says, when a clown moves into a palace, he doesn't become a king. The palace becomes a circus. Guys, the bread and circus out there is running rampant.
And I just want to be specific, though. It's not, we don't only bash the Democrats because the Republicans literally do exactly the same when they're in power. And then both parties do this very interesting thing where it's like with the other ones in parties, it was always the Democrats, right? And then when the Republicans are in power, it's like, it was always the fucking evil Republicans. And everyone gets distracted blaming each other while the crooks is the fucking central bankers and the fact that the money is stealing from everybody. I just want to say that.
Exactly. Pure signal. Pure signal. All right. Well, we're getting back into the Bitcoin memes. This is a Bitcoin show after all. So shouts out the Ding Dong 3001. And he goes, hashtag I am building. And it says, fuck you, I am building. And if you know his avatar, he is doing a play on his avatar of looking out into the great beyond.
What did Becca say, Opti?
I am building.
All right, guys. Next one is by @Bitcoinator. And this is just a perfect meme of shitcoiners in a nutshell. And it goes, shitcoins be like a wooden axe. Yes, but we are almost climate neutral.
Dude.
Okay.
That is an amazing meme. Wow. Bitcoinator.
Let's go.
Bitcoinator.
Okay. Oh, wow. I guess I didn't notice that I added Bitcoinator twice because he was just killing it. I saw two good memes, and he goes, the real Statue of Liberty, hashtag Bitcoin. And it's the Statue of Liberty with a Bitcoin flame, laser eyes, while holding the Bitcoin standard. Beautiful Bitcoinator. And then I had to add this one. Shout out to my boy, Greg Zaj. Go follow his new account, @GregZajDose. And this one's just for all you toxic Bitcoiners out there that are single. I feel your pain. When she says there's no reason to celebrate Bitcoin going down, you respond with, careful now, girl. I enjoy you, but be careful. Savage, Greg. That was savage. All right. All right. So my meme. I'm sorry, Nico. I know we have to be a PG on YouTube, but hey, I thought that one could work. So my meme review score for today is this brand new Lion's Mane, guys. If you know, you know. Lion's Mane. I don't have Nico's retention. I need a little more help in my neurons to remember things. So shouts out to Lion's Mane.
Oh, man. Dude, I literally handed Opti the meme review. He's like, yo, Nico, I want to do the numbers. Like, nah, I'll do the numbers. But the fucking meme review, that is literally your specialty, my friend. He's been doing it 100 million times better than I ever could. Opti is the master mayhem behind the Simply Bitcoin Twitter account. For that, I'm going to give it this black journal that I gave it a couple days ago, but now it's a Simply Bitcoin black journal. That's right. I put the sticker on there. What's
Nico's
inside?
Running out of scores.
You'll never know.
Does that raise the value or lessen it?
It definitely dumps the price, for sure.
No, increases the price.
I write my private keys in here by hand. Woo.
Dogs.
Or do I? Or don't I? Chris, what are your thoughts?
Well, this is just what's on my desk, but I'm going to give it this Bolt card. I just got it in the mail. Pretty cool. I haven't used it yet, but I'm super excited about this. Yeah, figure that's a pretty good score.
Is that the Sats card? The MVK one? The by CoinKite?
Yes.
Awesome. Yeah, I got one at the Bitcoin conference. It's super fucking badass. Anyways, guys, we want to know if you agree with our scores, you disagree. Let us know down in the comment section. Make sure to join our awesome Telegram group. It literally takes 30 seconds, no, less, like 5 seconds. The link's down below. You click it. It will take you to the Telegram group. You can link us Bitcoin memes to review, and Opti will put them on the thing so we could review them on the meme review. Make sure to subscribe to us on alternative video platforms like Rumble and Bitcoin TV. Bitcoin TV is awesome. They don't fucking censor there, obviously, because it's Bitcoin TV. And if you're listening to the audio version of this show on Twitter Spaces with Opti and Jacob from Swan, make sure to stay to after the show where there's a hangout, Q&A. It's awesome. But anyways, Opti, there was a website by Pleb. Why don't you show everybody?
Website by Pleb.
Brought to you by CypherSafe. Don't be that guy that literally writes their seed on fucking paper. Don't be that dumb person. You don't want to put your seed on paper. You want to put it on metal. Why? Because it's waterproof, it's fireproof, all of those good things. And CypherSafe has your back with the Cypher Grid and the Cypher Wheel. You could literally imprint your seed on metal. It's not going anywhere. You won't have to worry about a dog eating their paper, except this time it's not homework. It's a seed. That would suck, so put it on metal. Check out cyphersafe.io.
All right, guys, I'm here for the website by Plebs. And I had to shout out Rusty. I don't think I've seen this on the show yet. So this is worldofrusty.com, worldofrusty.com. And he is a member of the Meme Factory that doesn't exist. So if you want to support some cool stuff, some cool merch, you know, you might blow your OPSEC a little bit, but Rusty is killing it. He's got all kinds of memes as art. And look, he even has a Simply Bitcoin meme as a mug, guys. Like, let's go. Okay, so shouts out to Rusty. Of course, guys, go listen to us on Anchor, Apple, Spotify, and of course, we're on Fountain app, Value for Value Economy. We endorse it. Go listen now. Back to you, Nathan.
Now. Interesting. Anyways, guys, thanks to you for watching our show. I want to give a very special shout out to our clothing sponsor. They're awesome. RepresentLTD.com. Opti and I wear the hoodies every single day. It's stylish. It's comfortable. He's coming out with Bitcoin merch. He's coming out with Simply Bitcoin merch. The Simply Bitcoin merch is fucking sick. I'm really excited to show you guys. You can take advantage of the promo code down below to get 10% off. RepresentLTD.com. Also check out Simply Bitcoin's blog, www.simplybitcoin.news. Good news is soon it's going to be simplybitcoin.com. Wink, wink. And of course, check out our awesome guests. You can go give him a follow at Satsville. His name is Chris. He works at Bitcoin Magazine. Thanks for joining us, Chris. Guys, that was our show. If you enjoyed our show, you know what to do. Smash that like button. Of course, if you want to continue hearing the Bitcoin news from the Pleb perspective and the catastrophic fails from the same perspective, definitely consider subscribing to Simply Bitcoin. And we'll see you tomorrow, guys, for a fucking live show. It's going to be awesome. We're going to transition to live shows because we have so much fun. Anyways.
Don't shitcoin. It's bad for you.